This is what used to be the boat ramp. Now, a long time ago, the two-lane road you see over there by the houses was 117th Avenue. Where the avenue is now was all a field. It was all open. You had these power lines over here. They were a little bit further over. They were moved several years back. And you can see over here, it says, canoe and kayak launch only. No motorized watercrafts allowed. I guess technically this would be a park space. This shelter has been rebuilt at least once. And I mean, they seem to be maintaining it, which is good. Originally, when they built this, it had tongue and groove boards. I guess they redid it with plywood when it got damaged. I think it was Hurricane Andrew. It got damaged. Seems to be A-OK, no leaks. But if you look close at it, you can see where it used to leak. Actually, I believe this was wood shingles, if I remember correctly, when I was younger. As you can see, although the 2x6s have water damage, notice that the plywood does not. And I think what it was, when they redid the roof, they took out the tongue and groove, and then they put in that, plywood, and they put these shingles in there. Shingles seem to be pretty tight. Seems to be in good shape. Yep. Well, I don't know. I wonder a little bit. Of course, I don't think the average person is going to be up here grabbing the roof shingles. Not too many people are 6'6". And I see the county has also put in a little trash bin. There's a lot of garbage in there. I see people drink stuff, but at least they're throwing it in the bin and not in the canal, which is nice. Now, if you look in our canal, you can see that although the water is a little bit cloudy, it's actually somewhat clean. There is some trash, which there usually is. Looks like some shoes, some kind of can, I don't know what that is. And the usual leaves and stuff. There's a palm leaf in there, whatever. Now, there's a couple things I want to show you. Now, again, they put up these pipes over here. You used to be able to launch boats, and they had a place you could park. The dump was not that far away. It was on, let's see, where was the dump? It was on the other side, and where the water maintenance is now. So they put this up maybe 10 years, 9-10 years ago, I guess, to block it off. But I remember one time I was riding my six-wheeler in the neighborhood, and the cops, they wanted to get me. They've been trying to get me for a long time. Well, this was one of my favorite escape routes, because if you look closely, you can see this is a canal bank, and since it was designed as a boat ramp, it just went right into the water. So instead of having to try to jump off of this and risk flipping over, I could simply ride on in. I hit this water and started floating. Now you'll see over there is the Florida Turnpike. Now notice what they've done in the last few years. Because Florida has an extreme homeless problem, you see how they've put fencing all underneath that bridge? That's fairly typical for this area. What happens is the real estate here is so overpriced that we have so many people that work for either minimum wage or they're just sort of riffraff from the rest of the country or world. They end up coming here. They don't have a place to live, so they'll live under the bridge. There was a camp not that far away from here they took out last year, but you'll notice it's all fenced in. Now before that was fenced in, I used to be able to walk from that neighborhood over there. You can see where the street is, where that second bridge is down there. You could actually walk along the canal because it had a nice sloped edge. You could go under that bridge, and then you could go duck hunting or egg hunting or whatever. But when the cops were chasing me and I went down this boat ramp, I went into the canal. What I would usually do, go up into horse country. I had a friend that lived not that far off the canal, but you can see the canal's pretty steep at the end. But right here it had a gradual slope. So I would get in my ATEX six-wheeler, which by the way I still have. One of these days I'm gonna drag it out. If you've ever watched Homestead How with Kerry Mann, he has a Max six-wheeler, which is very similar, although not quite as powerful. And he's made videos on it. I need to make videos on mine. But anyway, so I come through here. Now, it was one of those days when it was kind of flooded, so the water was all the way up to the street. Well, the police officer that was trying to catch me, he thought, I don't know why, maybe this was a flooded road. So when I went in here into the water and I went under the bridge, I heard this strange sound, like a rushing water or something like that. Well, I turned around and I saw the police officer. The front of his car was in the water here, and it was starting to drift out into the canal. Now you can only imagine. I think at the time I was probably 16 years old or something like that. I was in high school when that happened. And I remember they had those Dodge Diplomat or Plymouth or whatever the police cars were they had in the 80s. And I looked back and I saw that. Metro Police. Like, oh no. So I was thinking, man, am I gonna get blamed because the police car went in the water? So I went over to my friend's house over here in Horse Country, and we just hung out for a while. Then what I did, I took one of his bicycles that he had, because we had a collection of them, you know, good old bicycle, and I rode, and at the time, there was no Miller Road Bridge. So I had to go all the way to Sunset and back, and then down what was basically a dirt road back then, over that bridge. I came over here to see what had happened. Well, by that time, they had a tow truck, some old, probably 70s, looked like 70s Ford, that had the county logo on it. It was like a white, green and white, or whatever color they were using. And they were trying to pull the car out. Now, the rear of the car was sticking up right here. It wasn't completely submerged. As you can see, it's somewhat shallow until it reaches that ledge right there, and then it drops in. Now, I don't want to get wet, and I don't want to walk out there, especially in this canal water. But you could probably see it. I don't know if I had something I could throw. Hopefully there's no snakes. Look at all this garbage. Look at this. People here are filthy. Ugh. Styrofoam. I used to come out here and try to pick this garbage up and put it in the trash can. I gave up. Every time I look at wrappers, you try to pick something up, it's always going to end up just sitting there. So anyway, yeah, I saw them pulling the car out. So went back to my friend's house. He didn't believe me. He says, oh, that's crazy. So we both came back on bike. And by that time they had it out. It was out here on the flat part of the ground, and the water was just pouring out. And back then, the Dukes of Hazzard was still a popular TV show, so we were laughing about it. And let me tell you, it was a riot. I'll never forget that. Now, of course, back then, the turnpike, the bridge was a little bit smaller. It still had the neat railing on it you could kind of see through. Now it's just some pretty crappy expansion that they did. You also used to be able to go along the side because that wasn't even fenced in. So, but this canal was fun because you could get in here with a rowboat or six-wheeler, or of course they had jet skis back then too. Go up and down the canal. People still go through this canal with jet skis and boats, but they don't want you to launch them here. But they do still have a boat ramp down the street, a couple of miles that way, where you can launch them. So you'll see it from time to time. But anyway, yeah, this is a little bit of memory of this area. And again, one of these days I'll be fortunate enough to move out of here. But at least while I'm here, I can kind of relate some of those old stories. Now you can see what's still going on over here. Looks like they're still planting trees. They're working on this for, I guess, a month now. There they are. They got their telehandler. They got one of those, I don't know if those are Bismarckia or what kind of palms they are. They might be. They seem to have a lot of them at some of the old nurseries, so it's a good place they can sell them. And there they are, up there with the mini excavator. That's a little bit steeper than I would like to see, but I guess it's manageable. That's at least a 30-degree slope. You won't catch me in a mini on a slope like that. Oh well. I guess if they did fall down, they're far back enough where they won't fall in the canal. That'd be my biggest fear. Anyway. Oh, looky, looky, looky. We have a coot over here. And look at what we have over here. Hello, Mr. Ducky. Ah, see this trail over here? That's duck activity. And usually if there's a male duck, there's a nest hiding somewhere. Now, here's the perfect nesting spot. Look at this. See that little pocket in there? That's, oh, there he goes. Hello, Mr. Duck. Look at Mr. Ducky. Look at Mr. Ducky. So we got a coot and a Muscovy duck. And over here we got a nice little ledge. Let's see if we don't, no snakes in here. Okay, this is a great nesting spot, but there's no eggs. So we're being a little stingy. Now I think he's just scoping it out. The female must be close by, but there he is. Hello, Mr. Ducky. All right, let's see if we can get out of here without falling in the old canal. It is kind of a steep canal bank, but you know, we're pretty agile around here. All right. Okay. Not too bad. Over here by the rip wrap, I've got, oh, this rip wrap is loose. Look at that. That's not good. Well, it should be fine. Okay. So, let me check the other side before I leave. You never know. Let's see. Nope. No activity. It's another good spot. See, this is another one of those little hiding spots for eggs. There are no eggs. Anyway, nobody's perfect, right? It hasn't rained for weeks now. It's dry. I don't know. Usually the rainy season starts the third week of May, and it's about what? Third week of April. So it won't be long before maybe another month. I'll tell you one thing, if we don't get a rainy season, look at how the sky is basically free of clouds, but at the same time, it's not really blue. It tends to be a little on the whitish side. I don't think the atmosphere is as clean as it used to be when I was a kid. We would get those beautiful blue skies. I mean, this isn't bad. And you can see up top, that cloud's not really moving. So those really upper level winds don't seem to be that active. But some of the lower level winds probably are active and they just blow all the moisture away. If the moisture can't reach the upper atmosphere, it never really condenses. It just stays in the air. And that may be a lot of what this sort of milkiness is. Instead of the water vapor rising up to where it needs to go to form clouds, it's probably just hanging in the air. It does feel kind of humid, but what else is new? But anyway, you can see, it's kind of a shame because when I was a kid, this turnpike really didn't even exist. I mean, it was there, but it was only 4 lanes and there was hardly any traffic. Now, this is the good time. This is the time when traffic actually moves, like 2:30. But after 3 to 4 o'clock, it starts backing up. And the only way to get around here without going crazy is to use a bicycle. Anyway, well, I see they planted a lot of trees there, so hopefully over time they will grow. They'll block some of this unsightly traffic and maybe bring a little bit of nature back. Interesting. Well, Mr. Duck, he's probably going back to his hiding spot. I'm gonna have to come back here maybe in a couple of days, see if the female comes around. I don't want to disturb him too much because there's a pretty good chance that that's gonna be their new nesting spot. And believe me, I can use the eggs. Hello, Mr. Ducky. Look at Mr. Duck. What I should do is bring you some duck food. Come here. Come on, Ducky. Come on, Mr. Duck. Come on, little Ducky. Come on. Come on, Ducky Wucky. Yeah, you're a friendly ducky, aren't you? Come on, Ducky. Wanna eat something? Look at Mr. Ducky. Come here, Ducky Wucky. Come here, little tasty. Yum, yum, duckies. Look at that beautiful duck. Okay. Well, you're not afraid of me. That's a good sign. I gotta get you some duck food. I'll hit the dumpster when I go over to Aldi and see what I can get for you. Maybe I can make friends out of you. Yeah, if I can get Mr. Ducky to be friendly, then he won't be afraid. And then Mrs. Ducky will probably lay her eggs. Oh, by the way, yeah, you're safe. I'm not gonna cook you anytime soon, considering we don't have a lot of ducks around here. Right, Mr. Duck? Hello, Mr. Duck. Hello, Mr. Ducky. Hello, Mr. Ducky. Come here, Ducky. Come on, Mr. Ducky. Look at Mr. Duck. He's like, nope. All right. I hope everyone's having a good day, and I'll catch you later.